This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Red lights are off, away we go.
Da müssen die Positionen hergeben.
¡Wow! ¡Qué adelantamiento!
Speed auf der Bremse.
Here they go, flat out, really good stuff.
Tremenda pelea.
The two cars make contact.
Unglaublich.
¡Wow! ¡Qué pelea!
Was war das für ein Rennen?
This is Racing Unleashed.
Hello everyone, a very good morning to you. Welcome once again to Racing Unleashed as we go beyond the pinnacle. Here we are again in Kemptal, but of course we bring all our racing lounges together. Why? Because it's Challenger League today, this fantastic league of racers that will be competing on an iconic circuit this weekend. Yes, it's the Temple of Speed, Monza, one of the fastest circuits in our calendar this year. So looking forward to the free practice session, the gear up, and then the knockout qualifying, and of course the race to come a little bit later on. So much action to come on the racetrack. But of course, with Racing Unleashed, there's lots more besides too, because we'll be looking at various aspects and elements, including the Rocket F4 Championship, the big finals of which will be held in Bolton in Manchester in the UK, where of course drivers will be competing in our very own simulators. Not only that, we'll be checking in once again with Ralph Muller, our Chief Fitness Officer, as he continues his quest to make us all fit and fast. And we'll be learning one or two exercises from Ralph a little bit later on today. And we'll be heading to Zurich, just up the road from us here in Kemptal, where of course we have one of our racing lounges, and which also features the Circle, which is where the racing lounge is situated. And the Quartier Fest that comes up at the Circle is something of a festival to celebrate everything that goes on in that Circle area just outside Zurich Airport. So we've got all that to look forward to as well. So plenty to come during the course of our activity today, which, as I mentioned, focuses on the Challenger League. Now, of course, there are three leagues in Racing Unleashed. There is now the Fun League, which was introduced this year because so much is new for 2022. Then we have the Challenger League. Those drivers will be out on track very, very shortly today. And then tomorrow we'll be taking a look at the Racer League as our championship continues. We are on the third event, and as I mentioned, we will be racing at the Temple of Speed in Monza this weekend. It's an iconic circuit and one that is really very difficult to get the very best out of. And I know, having prammed a rental car around Monza and made a complete Horlicks of it, I can tell you, but it is a very, very fast circuit, and so looking forward to the action to come. So I've talked plenty about Monza. There's someone that knows it even better than I do, and that is Mr. JWW.
Right, welcome back. Today the drivers are racing at Monza, Italy. This is one of the fastest circuits on the whole calendar. Fun fact, 80% of this circuit is conducted under full throttle. It's a high-speed mixture of ultimate downforce and tight, twisty turns. They've got to get the braking points right. They've got to keep the momentum flowing through the corners, and it's a long lap. So these guys, by the end of it, it's going to be endurance, it's going to be speed, it's going to be intense. Stay tuned. It's going to be a hell of a race.
You bet it is. So looking forward to it. Incidentally, if you're looking at this and thinking, what on earth has happened to your forehead, Dave? It was nothing to do with Racing Unleashed. It was more to do with a female member of my fan club who was just grasping my head to try and get a kiss. If you believe that, you will believe anything. So here we are then, and as Mr. JWW has explained, we are at Monza for the fantastic event to come today from the Challenger League here in Racing Unleashed. So the circuit, as he explained then, is some 5.793 kilometres, 4 left-handers, 7 right-handers. It's a really, really fast circuit, and it is one of those that has been on the calendar for years and years and years, and it's one that we've got to go to. And let's take a look at the championship as it stands then, before we go into the event today. And this follows 3, of course. And the last time out, we were at the Nürburgring. But the ranking in the Challenger League is as follows. P1, David Seed then on 43 points. Ciro Zambra is doing some chasing on 28. Keep your eyes on Marcus Valverde as well. He's P3 on 25 points. Then it's Sinan Demurbas, P4 in the drivers' ranking. Thomas Herzog, a fine member of our Fit and Fast program. He's P5 on 21 points. Then it's Tyler Klausch, Nico Farland, Yannick Schmidt, Jason Bleissig, Jason Ferrati. He rounds out the top 10 on 6 points. And then we see Michael Frey, then Anthony Hothe, Lendorf and Joshua Hayder, Boya Zazo, P.S. Meyer, Andrin Keifer, Michael Röhlin, Fabian Meyer, Martin Oberholzer, Astrid Vollenweider. They round out the next 10 places. And there you can see all the way down to 30 with Matthias Uverkirk and Theo Vida, Frank Seifert, Tiziano Capionio, Andre Wagner, Antonio Rivoli, Valentin Yorgiev, Julian Matias Dalla Rosa, Guzman Migueles, and Stephen McMahon, who is currently P30 in the Challenger League. I can hear in the lounge here as all the drivers are getting ready to go out for their free practice session. And here we go. This is where the action starts. Hold on to your hats. This is our FP session, which of course is now called Gear Up. So 10 minutes on track then for the drivers to really get their eye in. We're watching Marcus Valverde then, and we will see what he can do around this phenomenal circuit then. And you can see drivers weaving from side to side to generate temperature into the brakes. And that temperature in the brakes then dissipates out onto the rubber that connects to the hallowed surface here as well. So great shots. This is Hugo Pinto then in this Gear Up session that we are watching right now. So many iconic corners, of course, on this Monza circuit. The, of course, 2 chicanes which are legendary, including the Ascari chicane and the Variante to Rettifio, which, of course, is the first one that you come across from the start-finish straight. Lesmo 1 and 2, which are turns 6 and 7 on the track as well. So all those names that have made it into the history books after so much racing action that has happened on this circuit, which is situated in one of the royal parks in Milan. And it is a truly beautiful, beautiful place with this wonderful racing circuit right in the middle of it. So currently P1, Lorenzo Hayder then with a 1:59.138. Do expect those times to come tumbling down during the course of this Gear Up session. Here's David Seed then, currently P3, 1:39.046. Let's go on board with him now. David Seed then through this chicane. You look at just how much of the curbs you take through the Variante Ascari, and now you're running down what I consider to be the back straight, which is behind the paddock here at Monza, underneath the bridge. And then, of course, is the extraordinary Curva Parabolica, where there are 2 lines here, very much you can take inside, outside, before you are back onto the start-finish straight again. And it's your exit from Curva Parabolica that sets you up perfectly for a move going into this chicane, which is where we are now and where we're following Thomas Herzog, the Variante to Rettifio. And here is Thomas Herzog then exiting that chicane now, heading down towards Curva Grande, which is turn number 3. You carry so much speed through here. Absolutely full chat flat before then heavy braking for the Variante della Rosia, which is this chicane where you try and take curb on the in, curb on the out. Keep it all together before you head up to Lesmo 1, the right-hander. 2 right-handers here, almost connected but not quite. Turn 6 and 7 on the track. And this is Lesmo 2. This is Lorenzo Hayder. And you can see Lorenzo Hayder there looking good and looking good inside the cockpit of the car as well. He is situated in our racing lounge here in Kemptal. In fairness, he is but a stone's throw away from me in our broadcast studio here, enjoying this Gear Up session from Racing Unleashed, going beyond the Pinnacle for 2022 with our Gear Up session, of which there are only 5 minutes remaining. Yannick Schmidt then, we run the clock on at the moment. As you can see, Yannick Schmidt then making his way around this extraordinary corner, the Curva Parabolica, and then heading for the timing line to break the beam and start on another lap. Absolutely full chat flat, and you leave braking so late before the Variante to Rettifio. It's extraordinary. This is where we pick up Yannick Schmidt now. And back on the gas again and heading towards Curva Grande, which is turn number 3. So it's Hayder from Hayder. They are the top two, with Georgiev running in P3. Then it's Matthias, Meyer, and Farland, who are P4, 5, and 6, respectively. Matthias Della Rosa we're on board with now. This is a brilliant camera shot. You can actually see the suspension compressing and decompressing as the braking force is used. This is Mike Buescher. And those very unforgiving sausage curbs if you run off track there, which have caught many drivers out in various racing series. We are here, of course, with Racing Unleashed. It is our third championship round of the year. Here's Mike Buescher then. He's in calm. And look at the focus and concentration on the face of the young man then as he propels himself around this Monza circuit. Whoa, and a big error, but a good save. Well done, Mike. Just caught a little bit too much curb going in. And there you can see Sinan de Murbas, who weaving from side to side with only 3 minutes left to run in this session. This, of course, is only gear up. It is effectively a free practice session. Sinan de Murbas completes a lap and starts another one now. You can see from the graphics, absolutely full chat flat on the throttle. And Michael Farland then through the Variante to Rettifio, the first chicane the drivers come up against. And there he is, situated in our lounge in Munich. Delighted to welcome all our lounges together then, racing in our Challenger League today. Chemtal, Zurich, Madrid, Munich, and Calm. And Andre Wagner in strife and in the gravel, but finds his way back out again. All the other drivers doing a good job in avoiding, so Andre Wagner gets the car pointing in the right direction again. Runs just a little bit wide as he settles himself down again and gets ready to go again. But Stefan Lepage that we can see here, some 7 tenths down on the best time, which came from Joshua Hayder, a 1:25.464. Then just look how close it is. And here's Stefan Lepage then in the bright yellow simulator. Of course, new liveries for 2022, as I mentioned in our introduction to the program. So much is new in 2022 with Racing Unleashed, as everything steps up yet a further gear. Just when you think things can't get any better, they do. And Yannick Schmidt then really working on the wheel of that car and going to the inside, which is the outside when it comes to the long way around here. But is he going to make it stick? He keeps an eye on the right hand side there, but he has to yield in the end. And bear in mind, no one wants to cause another driver to go off or be in strife in this gear up session. Mike Buescher. Now David Sid has put in the quickest time as Mike Buescher tries to respond as well. Of course, this is the first of 2 events that we have, well, 3 events that we have in Italy, but 2 in a row from Italy as we're here in Monza, and we go to Mugello next. But Julian Matthias Dalla Rosa then in Munich, taking just the right amount of curb as he makes his way through Ascari and then down the back of this extraordinary circuit here at Monza, under the bridge as Tyler Klausch then, who is out on track. David Sid, a 1:25.068. Could we see a sub 1:25 time in the 20 seconds remaining in this this gear up session? It is our free practice session that we're watching now. So 1:25.068. Is anyone going to get us into the 1:24s? It's got to be a target when it comes to the knockout qualifying. Now, bear in mind the knockout qualifying that we'll be seeing in a while. Championship positions are reversed, and therefore whoever is P1 in the Drivers' Championship will be starting from the back of the pack when it comes to our knockout session. So there we have it then. Our gear up is done and dusted, so David Seed then in pole position to be very last in terms of the cars that come out for the knockout session. So that was entertaining and quick as well. We didn't quite get into a less than 1:25 time, but that may well come in qualifying. We will see. So I think it was back in 2018 that the quickest time was set at Monza. Now, these are the three leagues that I have talked about. Let's go from bottom to the top. The Fun League, it's possible at any time, regardless of our race calendar, and it's open to everyone, hosted by our individual lounges. And that really is a step, your first step, if you like, in the pyramid through Racing Unleashed. Then it's the Challenger League, which is where we are focusing today, where you register for the race weekend via our website, open to all at several locations. And then those drivers from Challenger League who have aspirations to make it into the Racer League, where qualification is through performance because you become a contract driver. Dates are, of course, to the race calendar and take place at several locations. Here are our lounges then. And if you see a trophy alongside the name of the lounge, that means that they're taking part in our competition. So in Spain, we are in Madrid. In Switzerland, Fultern, and is not running in the championship. But then we have Calm, Kemptal, Verden, Zurich. And in Germany, of course, Munich. And there are more lounges being opened all the time, all around the world as well. So expect those countries that are coloured in light blue to become more and more prevalent. Now, this is the prize money across the season for both Challenger League and Racer League, where we have in excess of 200,000 Swiss francs to be awarded during the course of the season. And you can see what you can get for just winning a race and what that means with regards to the season and the totals that could be earned and won. So very much impetus, whether you're a Challenger League racer or a Racer League racer. Now, the Battle for Glory prize money, that's a separate event that's going to be held right at the end of the year at a to-be-disclosed location. And that attracts some significant prize money as well, as you can see. It's a grand in your hand for a Challenger driver and $2,500 for a Racer League driver in that Battle for Glory. As I say, the location of that is to be announced during the course of our season. And now, if you would like to be a member of the Challenger League, Mr. JWW, once again, we call upon him to tell us how we can be a Racer League racer or a Challenger League racer.
So you want to race in the Challenger League. It's actually really simple to join. Just head over to the Racing Unleashed website, find the Challenger League, and be sure to sign up. Now, you don't need to wait for any confirmation. Once you've registered, you're in. Now, here's where things get real. You will then be allocated a specific time frame where qualifying takes place. You make your way to your nearest racing lounge, hope that you're fast enough, and then hopefully you'll qualify to join in the first Challenger race.
Thank you, friend. Here is the qualification phases then for 2022. Now, the start of the qualification phase for the next event, which is at Circuito do Mugello, 9th of May. That's when it starts, and then the end of the qualifying phase is on the 19th of May. And you can see the rest of the dates there and when you would need to be in and starting your qualifying phase and the time you have available between that and the end of the qualifying phase. When it comes to qualifying, this is our knockout system. Now, to explain from the top, you go out on lap 1 behind the safety car, absolutely no overtaking. Laps 2 and 3, they're called guarded laps, where overtaking is allowed, according to the graphics. And then from lap 4 on, that's when we start eliminating drivers. So we lose 2 drivers on every single lap until we get down to kind of this super pole shootout, where on lap 14 we have 2 drivers, and lap 15 it becomes 1. They become the pole sitter. So there you can see the safety car is out ready to lead the cars away then for our knockout qualifying phase here at Monza. Now, I love this knockout qualifying. It's absolutely brilliant because what it does, it really drives the drama, and knockout qualifying has become a race almost in its own right. So you can see the 6 red lights when the lights extinguish. The safety car, well, very nearly stalls, I have to say, as it fires away from the line here at Monza. And all of a sudden, it becomes oh so important now. It's a packed grid of cars, as you can see, running up towards the first chicane, the Variante di Rettifio. And you can also see that David Seed, by dint of leading the championship in the Challenger League, is having to start right at the back of the pack. What does that mean? Basically, it means he's got to do some overtaking during this qualifying. And that also applies to Ciro Zambra and Marco Valverde and Sinan Demerba as well. Those drivers really have got to try and get past cars during the course of this knockout qualifying. So it's like a reverse grid, if you like, of the championship positions for this knockout qualifying. It's another aspect of Racing Unleashed as we go beyond the Pinnacle in 2022 that is new in 2022. And it has to be said that I'm perhaps at odds with the drivers because I love it. And the reason I love it is because it really drives the entertainment value. Of course, the drivers feel that, hang on a minute, we're really having to work hard to qualify. But, you know, that's life. And we want the fastest to come through from the back. So at the moment then, you can see on the order on the left-hand side, of course, the safety car is P1. The safety car is leading the cars around. Then they go into a sequence of guarded laps. And then we're into the knockout phases. So underneath the bridge then. And there you can see the 300-meter marker board on the right-hand side of your screen. And Pinto leading the cars then. And ones to watch out for. Farland potentially. Caponio as well. And then right at the back of the pack then, those that will want to be doing the overtaking, David Seed and Ciro Zambra, Marco Valverde and Sinan Demerba, as well as our very own Thomas Herzog. Here's Hugo Pinto then. Very talented young driver in the Challenger League, as you can see, keeping the requisite distance from the safety car. Will Hugo celebrate his first potential pole position then from this qualifying? Of course, when you've got the might of all those cars leaning on you, then the pressure becomes great. Ciro Zambra. So the car's now on the start-finish line. And start-finish straight, heading towards the Variante di Rettifio. And already, as you can see, David Seed and Marcos Valverde swapping places. These are guarded laps where we don't lose drivers across the first few laps, but then the elimination starts. And you can see everyone jostling for position here. Let's go on board with David Seed then, the man that needs to do the most, arguably, during this knockout qualifying stage by overtaking as many cars as possible. He really did brake late then, and just a little bit of a love tap there. And I think that was potentially on Thomas Herzog. So you can see that David Seed has already moved up into P18. And Hugo Pinto has lost out to Hayder. So it is Hayder that's leading this knockout qualifying now. And, well, Hugo Pinto, it goes from bad to worse. He's dropped down to P4 now. Matias de la Rosa is running in P3, but he's pushing hard against Luperja and goes through. So that now becomes P2, but Luperja fights back and gets that P2 place again. So can you see exactly why I'm just so raving about this brilliant knockout qualifying? As Lorenzo Hayder leads then in P1, and you can see drivers really ramping up and one into the barriers. That has a concertina effect and takes another car out as well, which is not what we want to be seeing, but it happens, of course, because it's very busy out there. Some 21 cars competing. Hayder leading from Luperja and Matias, then it's Caponio. I said one to watch, Tatiana Caponio, maybe, during this knockout qualifying, and sure enough, up to P4. Now, David Seed has elevated his position to P13 now. So just proving that from the back of the pack, it can be done during knockout qualifying. Andre Wagner gets past Kiefer, finds himself in P6. And this is Michael Farland that we're watching right now in P10. Ahead of him is Rivoli. Great camera shot there, really pushing the speed of these cars in their drivers, of course, situated in their simulator, the Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo. Fabulous cars. Here's Michael Farland then, and we split the screen so we can show you the view inside the cockpit and, of course, the driver sitting in the cockpit as well, P9. Lorenzo Hayder with a 1:26.996. That's the fastest lap, and Tiziano Caponio now responds with a 1:26.505 as they break the timing beam and the times come tumbling down. So it's Hayder from Lupergia, Caponio, Matias Della Rosa, then it's Pinto, who was leading, of course, by dint of starting in pole position. Now, David Seed has made it into the top 10. What does that mean for the race? It means if it stayed that way, a fifth row start. Here is Tiziano Caponio then. And Ciro Zambra is P14, having done some overtaking. Sinan Demirba having done the same as well. And David Seed cements his position in the top 10 by getting past Farland and moving up now into P9. So proving that overtaking can be done during the course of this knockout qualifying. It's Lorenzo Hayder from Tiziano Caponio. Here's Sinan Demirbas then, whose virtue I was extolling just a few moments ago, running in P16. And of course, every lap that goes around, we lose two drivers. They're eliminated from the knockout session. And we look to see who is next in the target of the knockout phase then, and who we could be losing. Lorenzo Hayder now gives us a 1:25.898. And by dint of Lorenzo, of course, having a completely clear track ahead, is able to set that fastest lap, which Ciro Zambra from the middle of the pack now puts in an even quicker time. And he's Sinan Demirbas then doing some overtaking. A quick glance to the left-hand side. And Valentin Georgiev, who we are about to lose, and Andrin Kaifer as well, potentially. They go into the danger zone of this knockout phase of our Racing Unleashed Championship Race 3 for our Challenger League drivers. Lorenzo Hayder leading by a good margin over Tiziano Caponio, Andrin Kaifer. Oh, and I said about those sausage curbs, how they're very, very unforgiving across that chicane. Stefan Lupager then in a very good position in P4. If it all ended now, it would mean, of course, a row 2 start. Not happy with that. He's taken on board Matias Della Rosa to try and get P3, which at the moment he has done. His nose is in front. However, Matias Della Rosa does yield, so Stefan Lupergia holds on to that P3 place and rounds the turn. And good overtake done and dusted. So Lorenzo Hayder from Caponio. Lupergia is P3, Matias Della Rosa P4, then it's Pinto, Wagner, Fry, Rivoli, David Seed in P9. That's a really, really good effort as we lose Andrin Kaifer then into the pit lane. Knockout qualifying done and dusted. So Stefan Lupergia emerging as one to watch in our Challenger League today. Oh, and I think it was Matias Della Rosa that nerfed the Lupergia, and Lupergia now is relegated to P4, but I'm sure our race stewards will take a look at that, because whether Matias Della Rosa just missed his braking point and connected with the back end of the Lupergia car, certainly what it looked like from our point of view. So we're down to 18 cars running now on this knockout qualifying, and Meyer and Boucher are the next two that are in the danger zone. So here's Stefan Lupergia then, P4. Joshua Hayder then, not having the success that Lorenzo is having. And Joshua Hayder then running in P14, having got past Michael Farland. And Ciro Zambra making good moves up the order as well, has moved up to P11 as Farland drops down to P15 now. Here's Joshua Hayder. So Lorenzo leading, Lorenzo Hayder that is, and here is Joshua Hayder here in Kemptal. Really hugging the inside to try and prevent de Murbas from coming through. So it's Wagner and Boucher that are in the drop zone now. And completely shortcutting the chicane there. And ending up on the gravel. So now it becomes Meyer and Farland that are at risk of losing out. And Joshua Hayder having a real battle here with de Murbas to try and move up the order to enable him to compete for more laps in this knockout qualifying. Just look at what Lorenzo Hayder has done. He's built a margin of just under 8 seconds between himself and Tiziano Caponio in P2. Then it's Luperja, Machas Della Rosa. Then it's Seed, who is up to P5. So more places taken by David Seed as Yannick Schmidt, who we ride on board with now. He's based in our lounge in Munich. And Yannick Schmidt, who is in that drop zone with Michael Farland. Machas Della Rosa, P4. Luperja having got that P3 position back again following the contact between the two of them. So it's busy into this chicane. And here is Michael Farland then. Another one of our drivers sitting in the simulator in Munich. In our knockout qualifying for our Challenger League drivers. Hayder, Caponio, Luperja, Machas Della Rosa and David Sid up to P5. Here's Joshua Hayder then trying to buy more time on track. Needs to get past Sinan de Murbas. That's a brave move. And unfortunately, some contact there, completely unintentional. However, that means Hayder goes up into P12. Meyer then and de Murbas P13 and P14. Once again, the race direction team will take a look at that to see if anyone was at fault or anyone was to blame. But for Joshua Hayder, it means he gets to live another lap, but he's a long way back from Thomas Herzog, who is next in the pecking order. This is Fabian Meyer then. As David Seed now puts himself into P4. Now, please bear in mind that David Seed started right from the back of the pack. And if it all ends now, David Seed would have a second row start, having overtaken all those cars from the start of this knockout qualifying. So, and probably David Seed's efforts are not over yet. A fantastic effort from David Seed, then proving that the knockout qualifying works, and works really, really well, and drives for us some excellent entertainment. Stefan Luperja then, who's really been involved in this, and David Seed then, who they're trading those places. Here is Stefan Luperja putting on the chase to David Seed now. And Stefan has been really, really impressive during this knockout session, which we're down to 12 cars remaining. And in the drop zone, Hugo Pinto and Joshua Hayder. Hugo Pinto, of course, started the session right at the front of the pack and is in danger of losing out now, along with Joshua Hayder. Marcos Valverde is moving up the order, and David Seed, look, he's got very much the target sights of the Machas Della Rosa car ahead of him. Got some time to make up to get on terms with it. Thomas Herzog, member of our Fit and Fast program, running in P9. There is Hugo Pinto. And it's Mikael Fry and Joshua Hayder in the drop zone. So Hugo Pinto gets another lap, but what he would need to do is get by Thomas Herzog. So there's Hugo Pinto. Not only would he have to get by Thomas Herzog, but the next car up the order as well. So barring any disasters for the other cars out there on track, looks like it could be the end of the knockout qualifying session for Herzog and Pinto, potentially at the end of this lap. Lorenzo Hayder continues to lead by a very healthy margin of 8.5 seconds ahead of Caponio, Mathias de la Rosa, David Sid. Then it's Rivoli, and then it's Marcus Valverde, who we travel with now through the Royal Park here in Monza. About 40 minutes from central Milan, and there is Marcus Valverde then. Beautifully neat and tidy through the final chicane, the Variante Ascari, and heading down behind the paddock area here at Monza before, of course, the Curva Parabolica. Zambra has moved up past Loupager, which means that it's Pinto and Herzog, the next two drivers in the danger zone. Here is Ciro Zambra, racing in our lounge in the circle in Zurich. Through the chicane with the sights of Marcus Valverde, that very car ahead. So Marcus Valverde in P6. Hayder, Caponio, Mathias de la Rosa, the top three. Here's Antonio Rivoli. Again, very neat and tidy, making sure it doesn't run over those rumble strips and into the gravel, which of course would knock off so much speed. So each and every lap doing a very good job here. Ciro Zambra, who is being chased by Loupager, but Ciro Zambra and Loupager are the next two in the dropout zone, with Hayder, Caponio, Mathias de la Rosa and David Sid occupying the first two rows of our virtual grid if everything were to end in the knockout session now. And Ciro Zambra on as David Sid gets by Mathias de la Rosa, and we could see that on our split screen. And Ciro Zambra doing everything he can to try and fight to live another lap, but unfortunately his quest is over, and that too for Thomas Herzog. So we are left with the final cars then during this knockout session, our Racing Unleashed Championship Race 3 in our Challenger League, with Hayder, Caponio, Sid, Mathias and Rivoli and Valverde. So David Sid then up to P3. Let me remind you, right from the very back of the pack. So started P last in this knockout qualifying session and is now running P3. Now, Tatiano Caponio is a long way up the road, and with only 3 laps remaining effectively in this knockout qualifying, it's going to be a big ask for David Sid to really narrow that gap down to Caponio, in my opinion. So Lorenzo Hayder moves the margin up to 9 seconds between P1 and P2, although Caponio responds and takes a little tenth out of the time. Antonio Rivoli and Marcus Valverde then are in danger of, well, it's almost guaranteed that they will be going at the conclusion of this, as Tiziano Caponio then posts the fastest lap. And for Marcus Valverde, regrettably, the qualifying is over, as it is for Antonio Rivoli too. So Hayder, Caponio, Sid and Mathias de la Rosa are the final 4 fighting out in this knockout qualifying, where the gaps between the top 4 now are such that I think it's pretty unlikely that any places will change now. So here is Julian Mathias de la Rosa in Munich, really pushing hard, as has been done during the whole course of this knockout qualifying. But Caponio is so far ahead, and Hayder so far ahead of Caponio, that, as I say, I don't think that Mathias de la Rosa is going to have any chance of competing another lap, and neither that for David Sid as well. But what a great job David Sid did in the knockout qualifying. So from plumb last to P3, proving that the knockout qualifying phase really does work. And the fast drivers can come through. And right at the end of the session, he posts a 1:25.074. So really meaning business. Did wonder whether we would get into the 24s during qualifying. Not quite. We're 7/100ths away from being into the 24s. So it is, barring disaster, going to be Lorenzo Hayder here in Kemptal, who will have the honour of starting from P1 in the race to come a little bit later on. And there you can see Lorenzo Hayder then here in our Kemptal lounge, just completing this lap. And this will potentially give Lorenzo Hayder the opportunity to bank some important points and money when it comes to the race. Titanio Caponio then with a very steadfast P2 and has looked really fast. But this man, Lorenzo Hayder, in that P1 position, goes to complete the pole lap then, having delivered, built up a gap, built up a margin, was unthreatened by anybody else. And Lorenzo Hayder with a great job done. Big smile, as you can see, knows that he's done it, knows that he's banked that pole position. And once again, another very, very entertaining knockout qualifying. So Lorenzo Hayder then based here in our lounge in Kemptal, as Tiziano Caponio is congratulated. And there, what a great shot of Lorenzo then in our simulator. The Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo. What a fantastic piece of kit. Looking pretty happy and satisfied there. And rightly so. Congratulated by other drivers. And indeed by Noah, one of our Racing Unleashed staff members here at the Kemptal Lounge. So, knockout qualifying does exactly what it's designed to. It does what it says on the tin. It delivers great action all the way from start to finish. And Lorenzo Hayder here in Kemptal, literally just a couple of steps away from my studio here, has nailed it and has made it P1. And that means, of course, the very best starting position for the race to come a little bit later on today. So, Lorenzo Hayder, hopefully you can hear me. And tell me, how did you go into this qualifying session? Was it all strategic? What had you got it planned? What you were going to do, or did you just have to take your chances?
Yeah, my target was P1, and yeah, I can't believe it. I'm speechless a little bit. Can you hear me?
Well, we're in the situation, Lorenzo, where everyone can hear you except me. And everyone else is more important than me, so it doesn't matter. Let me close out our conversation by saying, how confident are you going into the race now? Because, of course, you will be starting P1.
Yes, I'm really happy for P1. Okay, I'm really happy for P1. My target in knockout qualifying was P1. So, yeah, I'm really happy for the target, and in the race I will go to P1, but was really struggle with Sid or the other enemies. But yeah, we will see. I give it all, and yeah.
We wish you the best of the luck with the race, Lorenzo. Have a chat with you in just a while, because regrettably everyone heard you except me. I'm not important, you are. Well done, Lorenzo Hayder. During that knockout qualifying then has put the car on P1, which drives us beautifully towards what's going to be a very, very exciting race. Of course, one driver very much to watch during the course of the race is going to be David Seed, who performed exceptionally well during our qualifying, as you saw, going from P last all the way through to P3, I think it was, that he finished in the end. Pleasingly, from my point of view, there's not much activity on the race control stand or the pit wall of race control, but they are looking at everything, of course, just to make sure that everyone behaved appropriately, and any they can look at that knockout qualifying and decide if anything needs to be addressed. But I think by and large it was a pretty good and safe and very, very entertaining knockout qualifying. So there you can see congratulations being issued to Lorenzo then. Josh alongside there, and Lorenzo did a really, really good job, and of course he'll be feeling pretty confident when it comes to the race a little bit later on today. So we're with the Challenger League across our programs today. Was Jason Fansin just in conversation with him as well there? So yes, as I said, it's our Challenger League today, Racer League to come tomorrow, and all our drivers competing across our lounges, whether in Kemptal here, as you can see in those live pictures coming to you from Kemptal, or Zurich or Madrid or Munich or Calm. Matters not, every driver able to compete, and during that knockout qualifying delivered some fantastic action for us, no question about that. And of course, big bucks up for grabs with over 200,000 Swiss francs across our season, which is the total prize pot, a huge prize pot indeed, and one well worth all the efforts of our drivers as they continue their pyramid, and hopefully will be elevated to the Racer League come 2023. Of course, that's the ambition and the aspiration and the hope for our drivers in the Challenger League. So we are at Monza, the Temple of Speed, this weekend. Our calendar includes 3 dates in Italy, because we have Mugello next, and then right at the end of the year we'll be at Imola. But Monza is one of these iconic circuits which you just feel something very special when you race at Monza. I am told it is one of those standout circuits that everyone wants to race on. And our calendar includes that brilliant circuit where we are today. Then Mugello, which is altogether different, because Monza is all about power. Mugello is very twisty and turny through the Tuscan countryside in Italy, and of course I don't think it's a completely different aspect to driving to what we have here. So then we go to Brands Hatch in the UK and Silverstone. Then it's Spa-Francorchamps, Circuit to Barcelona, the Circuit to Catalunya in Barcelona, then the Zurich Airport Circuit, and then Imola as we round out our season in November. But that's not all, because we have a battle for glory to come as well. And that battle for glory is right at the end of the year at a circuit yet to be determined. There it is, a secret track. So secret that even I don't know. And that is on December the 11th. Where we will be featuring races from both our Challenger League and Racer League as well. So please watch live our battle for glory at that secret track on December the 11th, right at the end of the year. Championship will have been done and dusted and decided, but we'll be racing for that battle for glory as well. It's a fantastic non-championship event to round out the year and send us into Christmas 2022 with a real ho-ho-ho and make us feel really, really good. So we have race control just taken a look at various things. Now, another great event that we are very much part of is Rocket F4. And Rocket F4 will be taking place in the UK, up in Bolton near Manchester. And some drivers will be competing in our simulators. Let's find out a bit more about Rocket F4.
twist side by side all the way through. Dylan Warren pushed over the curb. Fantastic move. Zach Sweeney onto the podium behind Liam McNeely.
There we go. Fairclough all the way round the outside.
So who will become the next racing star? Well, of course, we'll be bringing you that action from Rocket F4, which, as I say, will be hosted up there in Bolton in Manchester. If you're a fan of the British comedian Peter Kay, of course, Bolton was home of the famed Phoenix Club, I think. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be excellent, that's for sure. And the drivers taking part in our simulators. The Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo Simulator, which was part of the package, which was new for 2022. Really, really good simulators. Now, we've got a race to come a little bit later on, of course. That will be our Challenger League. They will be racing here at Monza. We've seen how they've done in qualifying. So now it's that period of time where the drivers have to prepare for that race. And there's no one better to prepare the drivers and explain what we should be doing, and this will all make sense very shortly as we go to our Chief Fitness Officer, Head of Fit and Fast. This is Ralph Muller.
Hi everybody, here are my fit and fast exercises for the upcoming challenges. A strong neck supports your upper spine in the dynamic racing Unleashed simulator. So Ben, next exercise, front plates with twists. You need a weight for this. So let's start. Go a little bit down. We're going down and up. Arms straightening up and now the twist. Okay, 15 times. Yes, very good for the shoulders. We will feel it. Great, thank you very much. I get Zero and Tanya, and we do the twist. Yes, great. So you feel the shoulders, right? Yeah, guys, that is how champions work out, okay? Racing Unleashed. Get fit and fast with me. The Superman is not only a great exercise for your back, it also helps your balance and concentration. So, Ben, bring the belly button to your spine and straighten up your right leg and your left arm. Keep your head up, and now we hold it. 15 to 20 seconds. Fantastic. Okay, we get Tabea and Thomas, please. Right arm and left leg. Yes, always 10 times hold that position. That's it. Let's go to the next one. Racing Unleashed. Don't miss it.
No, I need it louder than that, if possible. And there's echo on it now.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Red lights are off, away we go.
Da müssen die Positionen hergeben.
¡Wow! ¡Qué adelantamiento!
Speed auf der Bremse.
Here they go, flat out, really good stuff.
Tremenda pelea.
The two cars make contact.
Unglaublich.
¡Wow! ¡Qué pelea!
Was war das für ein Rennen?
This is Racing Unleashed.
Beyond the Pinnacle 2022. We are with the Challenger League today, and having had our gear up free practice session and also our knockout qualifying, the scene is set, of course, ready for the race to come. Where are we racing? Monza, fantastic. The Temple of Speed, which plays host to our racing today. We're delighted that you can be with us, and also big hello to all our friends in China that are watching our broadcast as well. You're very welcome to join us also. So qualifying then, the knockout qualifying was fairly full of excitement, as it is designed to deliver. The knockout phase, where we lose two drivers on every lap, means that it is deliberately designed to provide theatre, and for us provide almost another race, and really enjoyable it was as well. And so that is done and dusted. The grid has been set. However, it hasn't been without race control having to take a look at some of what went on during the knockout qualifying as well. So here is the way it's going to look now. Tiziano Caponio will be starting from pole position. Alongside will be Lorenzo Hader. Antonio Rivoli, then Marcus Valverde. Ahead of Julian Matias Dalla Rosa. Then it'll be Stefan Luperger, Ciro Zamba and David Seed. Then it'll be Hugo Pinto and Michael Fry. So that's the first half of the table. Ahead of Thomas Herzog and Fabian Meyer, Sinan Demerbas and Yannick Schmidt and Joshua Hader. Then it's Mike Boucher, Tyler Klausch and Andre Wagner, ahead of Michael Farland and Andrin Kaifer. Now, the overview for the penalties, as we see Valentin Gorgiev there. There was two-place penalty for Lorenzo Hader due to causing a collision in turn 1 in lap 1. Joshua Hader gets 4 places back due to an unsafe rejoin in the last turn. 2 for up 2 places for Thomas Herzog for causing a collision. So 2-place drop. 6-place drop for David Seed. Matias Dalla Rosa loses 2 places due to causing a collision. Michael Farland loses 4 places due to dangerous driving right on the start-finish line. And Andre Wagner loses 2 places as well due to causing a collision. So that's just a roundup of the penalties that were awarded during qualifying, during our knockout qualifying. So there was a lot going on and a lot for our race control team to take a look at. And they do take a look at absolutely everything and make sure that penalties are awarded when necessary, so that's why our grid is looking somewhat different to how we imagined right at the end of our knockout qualifying phase. It looks somewhat different to that we expected to see. So there we have it then, and those are the reasons why some of those drivers are out of position with regards to qualifying. Our knockout qualifying is completed, and now, of course, we turn our attention to the race, and that will be coming up a little bit later on with the drivers in their somewhat new grid positions that we will be seeing as they line up on the grid, and we will be giving you our virtual grid as well. So Monza is where we're at then, the 5.793 kilometre circuit, 4 left, 7 right. A real temple of speed, one of the fastest tracks on our calendar this year, which is a very exciting calendar, and this is a first of a two-jaunt visit, if you will, to circuits in Italy. because from here we will be heading to Mugello next, which is altogether very different to the track that we enjoy here in Monza. So that's how it is, and the calendar, of course, is a phenomenal one, and where we visit some of the most iconic racing circuits around the world. And Monza is one of those. And that's where we are today. The iconic corners, the likes of the Parabolica and Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. And, of course, then we also have all the other corners as well, including Ascari and Variante de Retafio, which, of course, is the first one that we come across from the start-finish straight, which is something of a funnel, something of a pinch point. So when it comes to the race this time around, expect perhaps quite a lot of action through turns 1 and 2, which is the very first part of the it's the first chicane that we have here at Monza, the Temple of Speed. Welcome, Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle for 2022. And we have lots coming up, including the race as well. And if you joined us for the first part of the program, that was absolutely fantastic. And you will have seen as we went into our break that we caught up with our Chief Fitness Officer, Ralf Muller, to talk about fit and fast.
Hi, my name is Ralf Muller. I'm the Chief Fitness Officer of Racing Unleashed. For esports, sim racing, physical and mental fitness is important. 30 to 60 minutes of exercises per day are important for your success. Use your bike instead of your car, or just take a walk. There are no excuses. Running, cycling, swimming, or gym. Just keep it going. So get fit and fast with a Gladiator. Racing Unleashed. See you soon.
The guy is menacing, isn't he? You wouldn't argue with Ralf Muller. He is our Chief Fitness Officer, and he is in charge of Fit and Fast, the program that, of course, takes some of our athletes from our Racing Unleashed candidates, if you will, and makes them fit and fast. Talking of people that are fit and fast and good looking and a darn nice guy as well, joining us in our Munich lounge is Fabian Vettel. Good to see you again, Fabian. Thanks for taking time to be with us. Hope you're well, and you're in the lounge in Munich. Is it frustrating for you as a racing driver not to be in the cockpit of the sim?
First of all, thank you for the nice words. And no, I would not say it's not frustrating. You know, it's great to watch those young guys that are really motivated to jump into the simulators and now go into the second race. Yeah.
Now, it wasn't so long ago, Fabian, I had the privilege of talking to you as you made your racing debut. You're still a very young man and a hugely talented racing driver. And I know, incidentally, I must mention, check out the Racing Unleashed social media channels, because Fabian and I had about half an hour on in a podcast yesterday, and that will be appearing on our Racing Unleashed social media channels. It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. But esports, sim racing, it has come such a long way, and when you started your racing career, Fabian, did you ever imagine that it would be as prolific perhaps as it is now? I'm talking about sim racing and esports racing.
Yeah, it's quite funny to hear you again.
No, I can't hear Fabian.
Like you have mentioned, we have talked already yesterday about that topic. For me, sim racing in general was through my whole career a big part, because you need to stay fit. Of course, your body needs to stay fit. Mentally, you need to stay fit, but also you need to prepare yourself for the upcoming races. For example, if you don't know a new track or whatever. So sim racing was always important part of real racing.
And what Racing Unleashed is developing, if I may say, of course, there has always been this kind of pyramid, hasn't there, in motorsport, where you start maybe karting, maybe you go into junior formula racing, and then you progress through the ranks, A, according to your talent, and B, according to how deep your pockets are as well. Now, I think with what Racing Unleashed are developing here is an alternative, or perhaps a complementary route where young talents can find their way in motorsport. Would you agree with that, Fabian?
Yeah, completely, 100%. Because for me, that was, let's say, the biggest point to work together with Racing Unleashed, because the plan, or let's say the future that Racing Unleashed is aiming to is just a great point to get young people into motorsport, into that passion of motorsport, without having, like you have said, big pockets.
Now, the passion is a real word that I want to pick up on because, you know, during our conversation in that podcast, which you'll find on the Racing Unleashed social media channels, you and I were discussing yesterday. I mean, albeit not being born on the tarmac, Fabian, you were effectively born into motor racing, and that passion is something that's inside. And I wonder that perhaps over the years that we've seen some talent not develop because they've been restricted, perhaps because of finance and things like that. Whereas now, if you have that passion, it's fantastic to have.
Yeah, like you said, motorsport is not just. For me, motorsport is not just racing on a racetrack. You can see it with sim racing or with the plan of Racing Unleashed now. You're not racing on a real track, but you're racing against each other, you know, and that's what motorsport is all about the passion to race against each other, to be faster than the guy next to you. And for me, that's motorsport, and motorsport, like you said, is a part of me and my whole life, and that's why I love it. You know, the competition in races, and that's not important if you're racing on the real track or in the simulator.
As always, Fabian, you talk great words. We are delighted that you are one of our ambassadors in Racing Unleashed. You go and look after things in Munich. I'll try and look after things not as well as you here in Kemptal. As always, it was great to speak to you, Fabian Vettel, and do check out that fantastic podcast that will be appearing on the social media channels of Racing Unleashed. We had a darn good chat for half an hour or so, and it's well worth tuning into. Fabian Vettel, once again, many thanks to you. So there was Fabian Vettel then, and here's our grid then for the race to come, going from P21, Valentin Georgiev then, who is situated in our lounge in Calm. He will be going from P21 on the grid, and as you can see, he is focused in the simulator, ready to go. Ondrin Kaifer and Mikael Farland go from P20 and P19 respectively. Mikael then taking on some valuable fluid just ahead of the start of the race to come. We'll be live from Monza. Mikael Farland then in our lounge in Munich, where Fabian Vettel is located, and Ondrin Kaifer going from Zurich. As we move up to the next row of the grid, because we've seen P20 and P19, here come P18 and P17. Andre Wagner then, who is in Zurich, he goes from P18. Then it's Tyler Klausch in Munich going from P17. Of course, a number of the drivers have been moved around in the grid following penalties that occurred following our quali session, or knockout quali session. P16 is Mike Boucher, and P15 here in Kemptal is Joshua Hader, who looks mean and menacing in the cockpit of his simulator, these brilliant Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo cars. So that is effectively the 8th row of the grid, P16 and P15. As we move to the next row of the grid, then of course we will be revealing who will be going from P14, and that is Yannick Schmidt. And you will note that Yannick Schmidt in Munich has got really big hair, which really helps with the downforce, you know. And a big thumbs up from Yannick. Sinan Demirbaş then goes from P13. He will be racing in our simulators in Munich. So good luck to Yannick and to Sinan then. They are on the 7th row of our grid here in Monza, going from P14 and P13. To the next row we go then, and we will find P12 and P11. And this is where it begins to get very interesting. Fabian Meyer then, he's in the all-orange simulator you can see, which is situated in Munich. And Thomas Herzog here in Kemptal. I say here in Kemptal, that's where our broadcast studio is. Good afternoon to you, Thomas. Wishing you the best of luck. He, a member of Ralph Muller's Fit and Fast program, and he will be going from P11 on the grid. So from Kemptal, Thomas Herzog, P11. Mikael Fry then also here in Kemptal. He is going from P10. A little smile there from Mikael ahead of the start of the race. And Hugo Pinto, he, of course, will be going from P9. More about Hugo in just a moment, but given that Michael is in Kemptal, 5th row of the grid, Michael Fry, what is your ambition? Surely a podium is achievable, isn't it? Well, clearly Michael Fry cannot hear me. But he will be aiming for a podium, I promise you that. Can he convert P10 into a podium place? Now, Hugo Pinto in Madrid, good afternoon, Hugo, he will be going from P9. Now, he started the qualifying from P1 on the grid, and of course he had the weight of some 21 cars behind him and ended up qualifying in P9. So that was the 5th row of the grid. To the 4th row we go now, and David Seed then, who was like a rocket ship during qualifying and went from the very last of the pack all the way through to, well, he got further than P8, but P8 is where he is now because he suffered some penalties, and therefore he will be starting from P8. Then Ciro Zambra, who is going from P7. Incidentally, David Seed in our Madrid lounge and Ciro Zambra going from our Zurich lounge. So those two drivers occupying the 4th row of our grid. And we'll move to our 3rd row of the grid in just a moment. Here it comes right now with, I think, one of the stars in qualifying, Stefan Luperger. And Stefan, I hope I pronounce your surname correctly. If not, I don't doubt that you will welt me. He goes from P6. And then in Munich is Julian Matthias Dalla Rosa. Goodness only knows, Julian, whether I'm getting your name correct, but Julian Matthias Dalla Rosa going from P5. Both those drivers in Munich, the 3rd row of the grid containing Stefan Luperger and Julian Matthias Dalla Rosa. Marcus Valverde and Antonio Rivoli then, P4 and P3. Now, Marcus Valverde then, he's racing in Madrid. You can see the sweatband, as is traditional with Marcus, is affixed to the top of his head as he will be ready to do battle from P4. And Antonio Rivoli, don't bet against him improving on that P3 position with which he starts. So he goes from P3. That is P4 and P3. Therefore, our 2nd row of the grid completed. Now, let's get to the very sharp end of our grid where Lorenzo Hayder, who actually finished qualifying P1 and then got relegated a place due to the rod of iron ruled by race control, and then our pole sitter. So to our fast facts then about Monza, the Autodromo Nacional Monza, the Temple of Speed, La Pista Magica, 5.793 kilometers, 4 left-hand turns, 7 right-hand turns, 580 meters blast from start to turn 1. It is the fastest circuit on the calendar, where drivers will reach in excess of 350 kilometers per hour. And here we can see then the race at Monza from last time around. And David Seed, who of course we've seen in our grid lineup. And here come our fast facts for this fantastic track. Variante Retafio. It's a funnel. The first chicane that you come across. All cars leaning into that, and what a nightmare in 1999 for Mika Hakkinen, who had a torrid time of it and ended up in the gravel, and that's just how he felt in 1999. The emotions of the driver very much, you can see. We continue our fast facts then at the Variante Ascari. Another one of these fantastic turns where you have to nail it and nail it correct. 2 lines are available to you on the final turn of the lap, and that's the Curva Parabolica. You got to get it right here to set yourself up for a move into turn number 1. And Nico Rosberg then was set something of a challenge, blindfold, to design from memory exactly the Monza circuit. And you know what? It was pretty pinpoint accurate. And not only that, he did it in the time that he would lap as well. Extraordinary. We're on the grid then with Tiziano Caponio going from pole position, P1, as we have 6 red lights. Oh, we're held for a long time on the lights as the cars are released now. Let's go racing. Welcome to Racing Unleashed with Strife already at the back of the pack. This is our championship race 3 here in Monza. Now, what did I say about this being something of a funnel through the Variante di Rettifio as cars go everywhere? So Lorenzo Hader then, who has got the measure of Tiziano Caponio and puts himself into the lead. Rivoli, I said, was going to be one to watch. P3, Valverde P4, David Seed now P4 as he gets past Rivoli and gets past Valverde, but then Seed suddenly comes back as well. So the big loser right at the start there, and Tiziano Caponio with Lorenzo Hader with a rocket ship start. This is Tyler Klausch running in P9. So the cars then on their very first lap. We're expecting 21 laps here at Monza. Hader from Caponio from David Seed, although Valverde now gets past David Seed. David Seed, though, retakes that position. What a battle that's going on for P3. There are battles all the way through the pack with Ciro Zambra making progress as well, getting past Schmidt. And here we are on board with Tiziano Caponio then. Started from pole position and completes and puts the first lap in the book. And the order is Hader from Caponio, then it's David Seed and Marcus Valverde doing a good job. He's in P4 ahead of Rivoli, and Mikael Frey moving up a place, getting past Matias Dalla Rosa. As though Matias Dalla Rosa now comes back on the inside. Can he scrub the speed off to make his way through? Yes, he does. And 3 abreast into the Variante di Rettifio will not go. And sure enough, we get a car sideways, but Stefan Lupager luckily is able to keep going as Rivoli gets by, or tries to get by Valverde, but Valverde makes the position move stick. And what Lorenzo Hader is trying to do, of course, is to try and build some margin between himself and I was going to say Tiziano Caponio, but now David Seed is in P2, having got by Tiziano Caponio. So it is Hader from Seed, and here is Antonio Rivoli. Still, the opening stages of this race, you can see he's based in our lounge in Munich. And David Seed is up to P2. Lorenzo Hader leading from David Seed, then Tiziano Caponio, and those 3 have broken away a bit. Look at the determination as we split the screen. The determination and absolute focus on David Seed as he tries to get the draft off the back of the car. Hader tries to break it. Seed is on the inside line now. Heavy braking into that turn. Who will come out ahead? Surely it's David Seed as we watch Fabian Mayer and Mikael Frey. But David Seed has picked up the lead from Lorenzo Hader with that move into turn number 1, the Variante Rettifio. So Seed from Hader from Caponio from Valverde. And this is Ondrin Kaifer then running across those sausage curbs, which are really unforgiving here in Monza. Already 3 laps. We're on the 3rd lap of 21. And so much has happened so early on in this race. With David Seed, who's trying to eke out a gap over Lorenzo Hader now. And it is up to 8.5 tenths, as you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Running in P12 is Yannick Schmidt, with Demurbas and Ciro Zambra either side, as Schmidt is caught in that P12 sandwich. And this is Valentin Georgiev, who's running in P16 with Lupager behind. And behind Lupager is Mikael Farland, Sinan Demurbas then. And Ondrin Kaifer as David Seed sets the fastest lap. A 1:25.340, 1:25.340. As Sinan Demurbas goes side by side then. And into There's Ondrej Kiefer then. What a good move if it works. But Ondrej Kiefer just picking up the gravel, and that means a loss of momentum. And he loses about 3 places. And that move from Ondrej to try and move himself up the order, and big advantage taker of that, was Sinan Demerbus. So here is Sinan Demerbus then running in P9, having got past Klaus. And Joshua Hader running in P15 currently. And chasing down Ondrej Wagner. Oh, just runs off onto the Astro and onto the grass. So Seed, as you can see from the graphics, left-hand side, has built a margin of 1.1 seconds. Here's Joshua Hader then, taking every bit of curb that he possibly can. He is racing here in our lounge in Kemptal. So Joshua Hader now on the inside. Lap 5 of 21. Seed from Hader, from Caponio, Valverde, Rivoli and Matias. And Yannick Schmidt then in P17. Thomas Herzog has got by Michael Farland to move up to P18. And Ondrej Wagner here. So David Seed leading now by 1.4 seconds as Ondrej Wagner then loses out to Joshua Hader. Joshua had been really pursuing Ondrej Wagner, and as we split the screen, you can see the race leader on the left-hand side of your screen. That is David Seed, ahead of Lorenzo Hader and Tiziano Caponio. Here comes Ondrej Wagner, going to try and take this back. So Ondrej Wagner then, he's not letting Joshua Hader get away with this necessarily. And here's Ondrej Kiefer, who is running in P11. So Ondrej Kiefer then, that we watch from this fabulous camera shot. And you build up so much speed. You go under the bridge and that bridge, and then carry as much speed as you possibly can. It is such a fast section, this Variante Ascari chicane that the cars just went through. And then, of course, you head up along this back straight behind the paddock, heading towards the Curva Parabolica, which is where we are now, watching Matias Dalla Rosa pursuing Antonio Rivoli, and he gets the draft off the back here. So let's watch. Is this going to be P6 turning into P5 as Matias Dalla Rosa dives to the inside now? And surely it's job done. A brilliant overtake by Matias Dalla Rosa. Brilliant job done. Moves up to P5. Next in his target sights is going to be Marcus Valverde, who is quite some way up the road. Talking of being up the road, so is Seed, who's leading the race by 1.6 seconds of margin now. So Matias Dalla Rosa in P5, and you can already see beginning to break away from Rivoli and Meyer and Fry and Demerbus and Klaus. So there is Fabian Meyer in P7. And in potentially in trouble here is Michael Fry, as Sinan Demerbus taking a look at that position. David Seed is just faultless at the moment, up 1.7 seconds on the P2 driver Lorenzo Hader. Here is Ciro Zambra, and you can see how you can get the benefit of the draft off the car in front, and Ciro Zambra making it work absolutely perfectly. So good move there from Ciro Zambra, moves up to P8. Tyler Klaus just taking a look at the inside as you go through the Variante to Rettifio. Ondrej Kiefer on the right-hand side of the screen. And David Seed now has got 2 seconds of margin as Sinan Demerbus on Michael Fry. And this is Valentin Yogiev, who is running in P15 at the moment. The car ahead is Ondrej Wagner. The car behind is Luperga, who did such a good job in qualifying. Here's Michael Fry then, involved in a real battle with Sinan Demerbus. And this fight that is going on for still points paying positions So still very critical, very important. Sinan Demirbaş then using the draft off the back of the car to good effect. And Yannick Schmidt, who is in P17, chasing down Luperger ahead. And Herzog is right behind Thomas Herzog. And as we see one car going off there, I think that was the Kiefer car. And Kiefer in strife, and so too Luperger, who's gone around as well. So that plays into the hands of the likes of Schmidt and Klausch. So Yannick Schmidt then hanging it around the outside of the Parabolica, heading towards the Variante de Retafio. Side by side, really, really dodgy. Somebody has got to yield. Inside, outside. Who is going to be the winner of this little battle? I think it is going to be Yannick Schmidt, who just stuck his elbows out and was absolutely determined. But this is not over yet around the Curva Grande. Oh, and it's a three-way fight going on now. This is fantastic stuff from our Challenger League drivers. And we are arguing about P14, 15 and 16 that we're watching. And at the back of this little pack is Thomas Herzog. But Yannick Schmidt, Valentin Georgiev and Thomas Herzog. And now Yannick Schmidt has been released. He tries to eke out a margin. Here's Tiziano Caponio then, hugging the inside wall of the pit lane, as you can see. And then leaving braking till the very last moment to go into the Variante de Retafio. Fabian Mayer, P7. Antonio Rivoli ahead. So Fabian Mayer, who's got Mikael Frey behind in P8. And David Seed extending his lead to 2.6 seconds. As Tyler Klausch here goes side by side. In fact, the two cars ahead are side by side as well. As the king of the late breakers going into the chicane. The Variante de Retafio, and Tyler Klausch just with the pressure that he was piling on Buescher there. It has worked, but here comes Buescher to come back then. This fight over P19. Heading up towards the next chicane. Oh, squeezed out a little bit. A squeeze coming back as well. So it's a real firm fight between these two. You can see just how much speed is carried through that turn to Lesmo 1 now. And Lesmo 2, and then on to the straight. Sinan Demirbaş has been involved in lots of the action as well. And incidentally, on the wheel discs at the front, you can actually see illuminated in LED the position that the particular driver that you're looking at holds in terms of the race. And Sinan Demirbaş then. Ciro Zambra, P9. Sinan Demirbaş, P10. Then it is Joshua Hader. Here is Ciro Zambra then. Racing in our racing lounge located in the circle in Zurich as Lorenzo Hader holds on to that P2 place, but is coming under a bit of pressure from Tiziano Caponio, who is coming under pressure from Marcus Valverde as well. So the final podium place is under threat here as Marcus Valverde looks at every way to try and get away by Tiziano Caponio, but at the moment Tiziano is able to hold on to it. We stay on board, but this time with Sinan Demirbaş, who took a look at the inside line, then discretion played the bigger part of valor. So Lorenzo Hader then P2 as Marcus Valverde has got by Tiziano Caponio to add the final podium place. Whoa! And big strife there into the pit wall as Marcus Valverde then has recovered, but of course his P3 place now becomes P4. Here is Lorenzo Hader running in P2, and here is Tiziano Caponio. So Tiziano Caponio racing in our lounge in Zurich, trying as try might to reel in Lorenzo Hayder, but it hasn't worked thus far. The gap remains at that sort of 7/10. The man who's making real inroads in terms of comfort margin is our race leader, David Seed, who has a margin of 3.5 seconds over Lorenzo Hayder. So we've about reached the halfway stage in this race as we watch Ciro Zambra in P9 and Mike Boucher in P19. And both are involved in battles here. David Seed then doing an outstanding job, but Tiziano Caponio still fancies wrestling away that P2 place from Lorenzo Hayder, and not quite close enough to get the benefit of the aero from the car in front. Unlike Ciro Zambra, who is able to take advantage, pulls out of the slipstream and is going to have the outside line, but that becomes the inside line midway through the Variante de Rettifio. It really rather depends on how much speed you're able to take, and of course rumbling across the curbs. Now Ciro Zambra is on the outside of the Curva Grande. Here's Mikael Frey. Absolutely full chat flat. Mikael Frey here in Kemptal makes the car wide going through. Ciro Zambra tries to fight back. And also in that is Sinan Demirbaş, who manages to get by Zambra. So Ciro Zambra, in trying to attack, has found himself defenseless. And now Ciro Zambra is under pressure from this man, Joshua Hayder. So they go side by side then. Whoa, big late braking. Actually managed to get the car rotated into the turn. So valiant effort by Joshua Hayder to try and move ahead on Ciro Zambra, but it wasn't to be on that occasion. But is it a question of when rather than if? Ciro Zambra, as Mikael Frey gets past Demirbaş again. Those places seesawing and swapping like you would not believe. And you get the benefit of all of this slipstream as Mikael Frey, whoa, really made it wide, tried to scrub off all the speed, no damage done. And you can see a quiet little smile on the face of Mikael Frey then, who's running in P8. Ciro Zambra is P10, Ondrin Kiefer is P12, because Joshua Hayder in a very similar liveried car is just ahead in that P11 position, and Ciro Zambra P10. So Seed from Hayder, from Caponio, Valverde, Matias Dalla Rosa, the top five, as we're on lap 13 of 21 here in the Temple of Speed. We're racing at Monza in our Challenger League. And our driver's doing a great job and providing great race entertainment as David Seed, look, he sets the fastest lap on lap 14, or actually it was lap 13, a 1:25.215. Very nearly an over rev from Tiziano Caponio, changing gears going into that chicane as Joshua Hayder then in that P11 position, just out of the points. And then three abreast they go ahead, and I think Joshua Hayder is being very clever here and letting Demirbaş and Zambra and Mikael Frey fight among themselves, and should it all go awry for them, he is going to be in a perfect position to potentially take advantage of that. Ciro Zambra we're on board with now, through the chicane, executed perfectly. And now that's the over revs I'm talking about, going down the gearbox from P5 to P4. She's perhaps overstressing the power unit, and Joshua Hader makes a mistake and runs out into the gravel. That has cost him some valuable time and cost him a place from Kiefer as well, who was able to take advantage. So here's Mikael Frey, who's leading this gaggle of cars, which is not quite so much a gaggle now. And he occupying the final points paying position in P10. Here is Ciro Zambra racing in Zurich. Good smooth shifts, and Ciro Zambra not quite in a position to be able to take advantage of the slipstream ahead, although Stefan Lupiger is trying hard to make his way up the order, having just exited the Variante Ascari. And Tiziano Caponio then and Lorenzo Hader go side by side, and Tiziano Caponio was not able to make the turn, and therefore Lorenzo Hader holds on to this P2 position. But there is no question that Tiziano Caponio is really up for wrestling this P2 away from Lorenzo Hader. Didn't work last time around. Is it going to work this time around? Here's Ciro Zambra chasing down to fourth, up to fifth, sixth. And Tiziano Caponio again not quite close enough to be able to get the advantage of the slipstream from Lorenzo Hader. Now what Tiziano will try and do is get close enough through Parabolica, but to be fair, Lorenzo Hader has driven that well and has broken any opportunity for Tiziano Caponio to get the advantage of a slipstream. Machas Della Rosa then running in P5. The car ahead is that of Marcus Valverde. And heading up towards the first chicane, the Variante de Rettifio, is Machas Della Rosa. Here is Stefan Lupiger then, who I was saying great things about during qualifying because was really impressive. And as you can see, trying to get on terms with the car ahead. This is Andre Wagner. He's running in P13. Now Lupiger is much further down the order than he would like, following a strife earlier on in the race, running in P20. Andre Wagner running in P13. And David Seed, incidentally, who's leading the race, and we've not seen much of him because he's been completely untroubled and there have been so many battles going on elsewhere. He is now 5.3 seconds to the good. Here he is, our race leader, David Seed, then with a completely clear track ahead of him. Absolutely emotionless, such is his focus on what he's doing. Using every lap as if it was a quali lap, just to continue to build that margin between himself and the P2 and P3 drivers. Remarkable driving from David Seed, who, can I remind you, in our knockout qualifying had to start right at the back of the pack, as Joshua Hader continuing in this fight that's going on. He's been involved in the battles all the way through the race, and it's been wonderful to watch for us. And Andre Kiefer alongside, and Kiefer and Hader are just swapping places all the time. But now going into the chicane, Hader just has the advantage, and once again Andre Kiefer is relegated to P12. But of course, the more Joshua Hader is having a fight with Andre Kiefer, it means he's not able to get on time or get on term to Mikael Frey. So a drive-through penalty coming, I'm hearing, from race control. Ciro Zambra running in P8. David Seed now 5.6. So 5.7 seconds to the good, and we're hearing that the drive-through penalty is going to be applied to Ciro Zambra, who is running in P8. So that will advantage Meyer, Frey and Kiefer, who will all end up in the points. So Ciro Zambra has seemingly felt the wrath of race control and will be punished accordingly. Seed, Hader and Caponio then, the top three. Here is Ciro Zambra. And there is Mikael Fry. So now, Ciro Zambra having not taken that drive-through penalty, we have only 3 laps left of the race. Now, generally speaking, if a drive-through penalty is not taken by dint of there not being enough laps left in the race, although it's completely different, of course, here in sim racing than in traditional racing, you have 3 laps to take the drive-through penalty. If you don't take it within 3 laps, you get penalised still further, or if there's not enough laps for you to be able to do that, it's awarded as a time penalty at the end of the race. We will see what happens. There is Sinan de Murbas and Ciro Zambra still running in P8, and Sinan de Murbas then is the car just ahead, running in P7. Seed, meantime, very nearly 6 seconds up the road in the lead from Lorenzo Hayder and Tiziano Caponio, of which there were only 7/10 between P2 and P3. P2 and P3 then a very, very marginal gap. So Seed, Hayder, Caponio, Valverde, Machas, De La Rosa and Rivoli the top 6. And this is Sinan de Murbas then. And that's how you use the slipstream on the start-finish straight then as this camera picks us up. It's going to be P6 as into Variante de Retafio, having taken advantage of the slipstream as we start lap 19 of 21 here at Monza. This, our Challenger League. The race that David Seed is leading by 6.2 seconds, with Lorenzo Hayder P2 and Tiziano Caponio P3. Mikael Fry is running P9. And here is our race leader, David Seed. Just keeps an eye on the rearview mirrors. You can see his eyes glancing. Well, to be fair, David, you've got no one within 6 seconds margin to you. Sinan de Murbas then, having got by Antonio Rivoli. De Murbas runs P6, Rivoli P7, then it's Maya Fry and Ondrej Kiefer then rounding out the top 10. Antonio Rivoli, here's Mikael Fry. Great racing that we've seen from all of our drivers in our Challenger League. Of course, all of them have aspirations of the championship and aspirations potentially to move up to the Racer League, maybe during 2023. Mikael Fry then, P9, with Fabian Meyer ahead. Cars sound awesome, look awesome here at this wonderful track in Monza, where pretty much it's only now in the very final stages of this race where maybe things have quieted down a little bit, because there has been so much going on. Here's Mikael Fry then, bouncing across the curbs, just keeping it outside the grass. He, of course, spaced in our lounge here in Kemptal as Tyler Klausch rounds that turn under the bridge and then into the braking zone for this chicane. Tyler Klausch running in P19. The car he has within the target sights ahead is Boucher, running in P18. And we start now the final lap of what has been another masterclass race from this man, David Seed. 290, very nearly 300 kilometers per hour before braking for the chicane. Here's Lorenzo Hayder. Is he going to be able to hold on to this P2 as Ciro Zambra sets the fastest lap in the closing stages of the race? A 1:25.081. 1:25.081. Tiziano Caponio, I feel, is lining up Lorenzo Hayder for a move from P2 or from P3 up to P2. Where and can it happen on this, the final lap? Are we going to see a change in the podium positions? Lorenzo Hayder and Tiziano Caponio have had a brilliant race where it's been really firm but fair between both of them. Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be as Lorenzo Hayder holds on to this P2 and all the way around the outside, but another masterclass by David Seed crossing the line. Lorenzo Hayder takes P2, Tiziano Caponio P3. Then it was Marcus Valverde, and then Matias Dalla Rosa P5. De Murbas, I think, is going to be P6. Yes. And there you can see our P2 driver here in our lounge in Kemptal. So Seed from Hayder, from Caponio, Valverde, Matias Dalla Rosa, De Murbas, then it's Rivoli, Meyer, Fry, and Kaifer rounding out the top 10. And Tiziano Caponio, they're doing some donuts here to celebrate. Certainly delivered a great race for us as the final drivers in the race cross the timing line and lock up nicely. And that is a real stunt show going on there from Tiziano Caponio. Now, as always, as we've seen the cars finish across the line, race control will be taking a look at everything that happened during the course of the race, but we think we know where we're at, but we never do until the race control confirms everything. So Tiziano Caponio then heading back now to complete this slowing down lap. And still got quite a lot of the lap to do. Wonder if we're going to get any more donuts before the end of the lap. Maybe, maybe not. And so there you can see, parked up now in Parc Ferme is our P2 driver, who did an excellent job indeed. And we'll be very happy about that, I don't doubt. But again, it was something of a masterclass from David Seed. And here we can get a good shot into some of our lounges, whether it be here in Kemptal or Zurich, Madrid, Munich, or Calm. And their headphones going off. And well done to all our drivers for delivering a really good race, one that I certainly enjoyed, and it wasn't really until the last 2 or 3 laps that things had settled down sufficiently that there were no huge fights going on, because there were up until every single point. It was amazing. Haha. There we are in our lounge. I think that's in Zurich. Just looking on, you can see the podium steps at the back of the lounge there. And there is some delight. P2 delivered. And delivered really, really well. Big thumbs up and applause as well. So we cross to all the lounges then to see the reactions of drivers as they get out of the simulators, these wonderful Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evos that the drivers use to compete in the Challenger League. And of course the Racer League, which we will be enjoying tomorrow. So this is the way the podium looks. P3, Tiziano Caponio. P2, Lorenzo Hayder. And then P1 on the top step of the podium will be David Seed. That, of course, is a provisional podium. Race control will take a look at everything, but I don't think there was anything during the course of the race that should impact that podium of Tiziano Caponio, Lorenzo Hayder, and David Seed, the P3, P2, and P1. So let's catch up with Tiziano Caponio then inside cockpit here in Zurich. You're still being fist pumped with success. Tiziano, but right towards the very end, I thought, yes, you are going to do Lorenzo, but you didn't quite manage to achieve it.
No, I have to say I was really under pressure by him. He's such a great driver. His race pace is amazing. And I mean, I tried my best, but sadly I couldn't catch him. But I'm definitely happy with P3.
It's well deserved, and what's also nice is you being so respectful about other drivers as well, because your race pace was great also, and you did have opportunities, but sometimes it's better to bank P3 than to go all the way and perhaps cause a collision, which could have cost you. Big points and big podium for you, P3. Tiziano Caponio, well done to you.
Thank you very much.
So in our Zurich lounge then, Tiziano Caponio takes P3. So there's one half of the Hayder combination then. And Lorenzo Hayder then, P2, you're hiding a smile there before you look at the camera, because I know, yeah, there it is, in Kemptal. Lorenzo, you were saying to me off the air, your English is not very good, but actually you only need one word. I am P2. You did really, really well. It was a great race for you.
Thanks, yeah. I think it's a big race for me. Congratulations to David Sitt and Tiziano Caponio. It was a really nice fight of all of the race, and I'm really happy for the target. And yes, I can't believe it. I'm a little bit speechless.
To be honest, Lorenzo, you had to fight right until the very end, because you and Tiziano, I mean, that was a brilliant race for us to watch. It must have been really enjoyable to be part of it as well. It was very fair between the two of you.
Yes, it was really fair racing, and Tiziano is a fair racer. Good job for this mate. Yes.
Many congratulations, Lorenzo Hayder. You will be P2 on the podium. Well done once again. So Lorenzo Hayder then, who takes that P2, and you can see how happy he is. And there we are, a shot being taken right now of Lorenzo Hayder, who now is spoken to me is probably going to jump out of the simulator. David Seed in Madrid, and I said that once again it's another masterclass from you. You've taken the win. I was really, really impressed during qualifying, because you worked your way through the pack. But, David, you've had hard work in qualifying, hard work in the race. You must feel that you've achieved almost 2 wins.
Yes, I don't know, mate, because I didn't know that I won the race until now. So I'm feeling stressed but happy. I had like a 6th place position penalty in the knockout. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. I managed to overtake the other 8 cars, and I won, so I'm happy.
And so you should be. And you just mentioned there that you picked up that penalty to go into the race. I mean, the bigger penalty for me, David, in my opinion, was the fact that you lead the championship, and therefore you had to start right at the back of the pack in the knockout qualifying, and you had to overtake so many cars. It's like another race, isn't it, David?
Yes, it's the same like the other 3 races. I mean, I'm getting to it, so.
Well, all the other drivers are hugely respectful of you. You have delivered once again a masterclass. David Seed in Madrid, congratulations. Race winner.
Thank you.
So discussions going on, of course, as the drivers have exited their simulators. I can see from my vantage point here that Race Control taking a look at a lot of things. Let's take a look at some repeats then of, I mean, there was so much in that race. This is Stefan Luperger then. Now this is what I'm saying to you about how it is a funnel. You got cars 3 and 4 abreast. Those sausage curbs do not give one bit. And as you can see, it's very easy to make contact and for cars to be pointing in the wrong direction. It's renowned at Monza, and that's what makes the place so brilliant. Right, using the slipstream and very nearly using the gearbox as well, Tiziano Caponio. Just look at that. I mean, spatial awareness was extraordinary on Valverde. knowing just when to dive out. And this is what it was like looking back from Marcos Valverde, who of course suffered the little nerf at the back. So here is some more repeats then. This is Joshua Hader, the outlap, hugging the inside going into the Variante Retafio, which is so important now. 3 wide ain't going to work. Somebody has to yield, otherwise not all 3 cars are getting through. And there you can see discussions going on here in the lounge in Kemptal, following the provisional podium that we've seen. That's the back of race control. That's where all the action is going on right now, as various footage. And of course, race control have access to so much data and so much footage that they are able to really take a look at absolutely everything, and will continue to do so. And can see Lorenzo Hader just walking past my studio. He's very happy. And David Seed, well, that was a big save, to be fair. It could have gone so horribly wrong. Let's see it from a different angle. He had no alternative. And actually nothing was gained through shortcutting the chicane, because of course he had to go over the sausage curbs as well. There's Joshua Hader, who didn't have quite such a good time as Lorenzo. And David Seed, we continue. You can see wheels banged together with Lorenzo Hader, and this was the moment that David Seed was able to use the Variante de Retafio to convert P2 into P1. Those are live pictures from our race control at the moment. Spot to the left-hand side, our race director, and 2 assistants alongside as well. They slow down everything and take a look at every incident that is necessary to look at, and also take a look at all the data as well, just to ascertain if any penalties need to be awarded, and if they are, where, and who will be the recipient of those. It's all taken very seriously and done very, very well indeed, I have to say. The race control team work really, really hard. And as I say, it's very fair, but firm. And do you know what? That's what racing is all about, isn't it? And here at Monza, where you just carry so much speed, hence the name, Temple of Speed. So the Racer League comes up tomorrow, having just enjoyed the brilliant Challenger League race that we have. And of course, many of those drivers in the Challenger League will be hoping to elevate to the Racer League come the next season. So you can see the podium places being warmed up there by one of our race fans on the stairs. It's absolutely fine. You stay where you are. You can be P1 for as long as you like. And there the discussions continue after the race. So we're waiting for race control just to analyse everything that they want to analyse before we bring you the absolutely confirmed result. Every result that we're able to bring you, every result that we're able to bring you is, of course, a provisional until such time as race control have confirmed it. So, different angle there. You can see Thomas Herzog in the middle of your picture there, in conversation with Joshua Hader, talking about the race that has just taken place. From here, our Challenger League drivers will be staying in Italy virtually, because the next race event will be in Mugello, a very, very different track altogether to that we've enjoyed in Monza. I am just hearing from race control that all the podium positions are under investigation. That's P1, P2, and P3. So, our virtual podium may not end up looking like that, because all of those positions are under investigation as we speak. And that is the place of the investigation right now, with all the footage being looked at and all the data being looked at as well. So all those positions may not be the podium that we end up with. It's conjecture on our part at the moment, because we do not know. Here is the prize money that every driver competes for. It's a prize fund over the course of the season that's worth in excess of 200,000 Swiss francs, so it's huge. And as you can see in the Challenger League, there's 500 Swiss francs up for the win, 250 for second place, 200 for third, then 150, 175, 50, 25, 15 and 10, all the way down to P10. You can almost see the stress and anxiety on race control as they continue to look at everything and decide whether penalties are going to be awarded. Adrian Tomi then, who is head of race control. And you can see just how hard he's looking at everything. Now, we have a Battle for Glory event in December, which is a non-championship event. And the prize money for that alone, as you can see in the Challenger League, if you win, you put $1,000 in your hand. And it is going to be on December the 11th. Don't know where yet. Don't know where. The track location is being kept secret. But the Battle for Glory will be live on December the 11th and will feature races from both our Challenger League and our Racer League. And we urge you to join us for that in December, right at the end of the year, once the championships in both Challenger League and Racer League have been awarded. So there you can see every minute detail can be looked at by our race control team. And the news reaching us then that the top 3 positions are potentially, not potentially, they are under investigation. The potential is whether any penalties will be awarded. So you've seen there the Battle for Glory, which comes up at a secret location in December. From here we head off to Mugello for our next round. Then we have a couple of dates in the UK. One will be at Brands Hatch and one will be at Silverstone. From there we head off to Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes, Belgium. Then it is Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. Now the Zurich Airport Circuit, which was our host of our prologue event, that makes an appearance in our calendar as well. That will be race 9 and then race 10 as we return to Italy and Imola. Incidentally, our cars, the Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo car, built in Maranello in Italy. And they are proving to be absolutely wonderful simulators and provide great racing for our drivers and great cockpit for our drivers to race on. And that in turn provides great racing for us to enjoy. Wherever you are around the world watching our program, you're most welcome, and we are delighted that you are with us. And once again, a special hello to our friends in China that are enjoying our broadcast. So, race control working as fast and furiously as they can to confirm our race positions following the race. Lots being looked at, and that is the race control module on the left hand side of your screen that you can see now, and that is where 3-4 people are looking at everything. I said at the start of the program, there's a lot that's new for 2022. It's a new car, the Formula Hybrid X 2022 Evo car. New livery, new format, of course. And here, confirmation of our calendar for 2022, where we're at the Autodromo di Monza. Then we go to Mugello. Then it's Brands Hatch on the 11th and 12th of June. Silverstone, 30th and 31st of July. Spa-Francorchamps, 27th, 28th of August. The Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, 24th and 25th of September. Then the Zurich Airport Circuit, 22nd and 23rd of October. And then Imola on the 12th and 13th of November. It's a packed calendar and a really well-designed calendar as well, featuring some iconic circuits in our Racing Unleashed as we go beyond the Pinnacle for 2022. And, of course, do bear in mind that we have, after our championship race calendar, we have our Battle for Glory right at the end of the year in December at a venue and location to be confirmed, or even to be mentioned, let alone confirmed, because I know nothing. Right, I'm told that we are getting close to having a new race result, as our race control team have worked feverishly to confirm what the race result is going to be. So the sense of anticipation is felt great around the world as we find out who will be where following our Challenger League race. So here we go. P3, Marcus Valverde. So Marcus Valverde gets elevated to a podium place, P3, because 10-second penalty awarded to Tiziano Caponio. So the P1 and P2 remain David Seed and Lorenzo Hayder, but Marcus Valverde elevated to P3. Tiziano Caponio picking up a time penalty, moves to P4, ahead of Julian Machas Dalla Rosa, then Sinan Demurbas P5 and P6, Antonio Rivoli P7, Fabian Mayer P8, then P9 Mikael Frey, and rounding out the points places, Ondrin Kiefer then takes P10. So those are the top 10. Joshua Hayder then just out of the points, P11. Then it was Yannick Schmidt and Andre Wagner, P12 and P13. Thomas Herzog with a P14. Ciro Zambra, P15. Of course, had a drive-through during the course of the race. Valentin Georgiev, P16. Hugo Pinto, P17. Then Boucher. And then the rest of the order you can see on screen. That's the new confirmed race results. So we do have a change in the podium. And discussions ongoing then throughout our lounges. And that means that Tiziano Caponio loses out on that P3 position, Marcus Valverde occupying P3. So the P1 and P2 remain as was, with P1 going to David Seed, P2 to Lorenzo Hayder, and P3 now to Marcus Valverde. So thanks to our race control team for being able to deal with that so quickly and take a look at all the incidents that they needed to judge whether anything needed to change with regards to the confirmation of the result. So looking pretty happy then on screen is Marcus Valverde with the medal and the handshake. Well done. P3 to Marcus Valverde. Forgive me, I'm coughing because of the big hair there as P2 is awarded, and the applause to Mr. Hayder then, who puts his medal on with some pride and of course thinks about the money he's banked as well. Well done, that is P2. These are our real podiums then, taking place in the lounges appropriately. Well done to you. So P3 and P2 done. That means, of course, just the race-winning podium position to come. Look at that medal. It looks great. And the smile from ear to ear for P2 as well. And here comes David Seed then on the top step. P1. Now, the medal going across will make him smile a little bit. David Seed then, who is P1 and race winner, and hides his emotions well, you know, because deep down he's absolutely thrilled and couldn't get off the podium quick enough. David Seed, the race winner. Fantastic. Here then, the podium confirmed for you. P1 David Seed, P2 Lorenzo Hayder, P3 Marcus Valverde. That's how our Challenger League finished up. What a great race. More great racing to come tomorrow with the Racer League. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you join us for our races tomorrow. From Racing Unleashed, for now, bye-bye.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Red lights are off, away we go.
Da müssen die Positionen hergeben.
¡Wow! ¡Qué adelantamiento!
Speed auf der Bremse.
Here they go, flat out, really good stuff.
Tremenda pelea.
The two cars make contact.
Unglaublich.
¡Wow! ¡Qué pelea!
war das für ein Rennen?
This is Racing Unleashed.